Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. So, here we are once again, doing the summary here for the Deadman turn 15. We'll be moving into turn 16 tomorrow, can't wait, it's going to be cool. So how are things going? They're going relatively well, though it depends really where you do look. Now, with our successful taking of Palembang, I'm going to bring up the actual screen here. Yeah, with the successful taking of Palembang, we have secured a nice, really important base over here. Singapore is not too far away from falling, which is good. I very much would like to see this fall as soon as possible. The best case scenario is we might be able to take it before the end of December, and that would be pretty insane. That'd be really great. I'm going to be pushing aggressive there. I'm going to explain some of the reasons as to why, but our reasons as to why we should wait, but I'll go over that. But what I'm doing over here is I have shifted the K-27s from over here at Singkawang. I'm having them run cap at about 5,000 feet over here. I'm actually sending a third squadron of Zeros over here. So 2 are going to be sweeping, 1 are going to be escorting G3s to actually hit the airfields of Batavia. The reason being, if we can actually just really just absolutely rail against his air power in Java, that's going to help us out. I do really want to try and reduce his air power in Java, at least at Batavia. The reason being, I would like to very much like to clear the mines out from Batavia, really. Which will be very fun. We can do that by being a hex outside. It seems to be more efficient to actually be inside the actual hex with the mines, but we can do it from a hex outside, which we would like to do at some point in the future. The reason being that we want to get our bombardment capability there. We want to be able to hit Batavia. The good news, the extremely good news, is that in about 6 or so days, 6 to 7 days, I think it's about 6 days, we will have a number of ammunition tenders coming online across the Empire, which is going to be fantastic. That means we'll be able to rearm across the board in multiple locations as we choose, which is going to be really great. It's going to help to accelerate our programs, our designs massively, which is going to be very nice. Okay, so moving on. Now, the Minika Batai, what we're going to be doing here then is continue to move north in this direction. And we have refueled at sea. We've split these assets off, so Yamashiro and Fuso have been split off here. We still have a pretty healthy destroyer escort. But what we've done here is we've refueled at sea, which means our progress obviously will be significantly less this turn. But that's fine. These guys over here aren't going to escape. We also need to refuel at sea so we can continue to move on forward. The best case scenario is we clear Batavia's airfields and really try and clear this area out. That would mean we could actually force an AO into the actual Indian Ocean out here, which would be amazing. It would be very nice. We do have 2 moving out over here. He's actually aware of this as well, which is not an ideal thing. And it's something of a worry, in fact. So what I'm going to do then, just the time being, is this force has actually been sent to Bardwab. I'm going to have it actually act as a escort for the time being of Oilers. He still has assets over here. He could potentially risk something. He could potentially try and throw something over here. So I do want to try and remove that possibility. Now, I am going to order an attack over here at Johor Bahru. The reason being, yes, well, they don't have a plan for Johor Bahru, which is to be expected. There's also a plan for Singapore. We do have a pretty fantastic leader over here. I did consider spending points, but it's one of those of, if I take a look at this, for example, that's 30 odd political points. That's a lot of political points to be paying for something like that, for just a leader. Which I'd like to do it, but I don't think it's really worthwhile. What I've gone ahead and done then is we do have 2 headquarters over here at Kotzebue, like Army core level headquarters that will be moved down here. Annoyingly, I did try to actually load them up, but irritatingly sometimes when you click off, then it begins to load only 1 unit. So it's going to delay things slightly. I was going to load them up and get them moving down here, but I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer and then load them up the turn after. At least the turn after I can get everything loaded up that I want. But what we're going to do, what I'm trying to do, is we do have the 25th Army over here. I've changed its planning for Johor Bahru and left it here on combat support. Well, just in combat. The reason it's 1 hex away, it should actually help us over here. The overall command of Southern Army is going to continue to plan for for Singapore. The reason why I've done that is to actually aid us over here at Johor Bahru. We also do have 2 headquarters over here as well that, of course, will be used for Singapore. One of them's planned for Johor Bahru, but I'm going to have that set to plan for Singapore instead. It looks like I might have grabbed the wrong headquarters, but this is what happens really sometimes. Yeah, so you can see for Southern Army, He's playing for Johor, sorry, for Singapore, which would be fine. Yeah, the reason why I want to take Johor Baru, and this is assuming assuming the attack goes well tomorrow. If it doesn't, that's fine. We'll talk about that one. The reason why I think the attack will be successful is there should be around about 100 AV there. That is what begins at the start of the game. Now, Dadman could have moved things there, but as far as it goes in the rest of Malaya, he hasn't done anything. Which is nice. I really appreciate that. That's Dadman being genuinely quite nice there. He could have made things significantly more difficult for us, but he hasn't. Which I'm going to take any little mercy that we can. So I think we will probably have success tomorrow at mercing. We'll probably lose a few squads, but I don't think we'll lose a terribly large amount of forces. The issue is, of course, that we're hitting the force of Johor Baru. We're not hitting as hard as we potentially could. But the reason why I'm willing to take that as a actual outcome is it does open up the base of Johor Baru then. It means that we can actually get supply into the base here at Johor Baru. It does actually deny him an airfield, not many would use it, but it denies him the base. It also means that if there's any potential supply in the base, we might be able to also capture that as well. But what I would like to do is run the risk of the attack tomorrow. I assume that we will be successful, and assuming that we are successful, what would then happen is the 33rd would then actually rest. So as they would be able to burn off the actual fatigue and disruption to some degree that they had accrued. The reason why I say if the attack actually doesn't go successful, let's say we don't actually push them out, that's actually quite a good thing. Because it means we've had an attack on them, it means we'll get another attack on them when the other division arrives. But the reason why I want to push now is because it's more so about time. It's 2 days before the 4th division arrives, so it would take 2 days for them to arrive here. It would mean that on the 3rd day, so we'll say 23rd, 24th, they'll arrive here on the 24th. That means that we would attack then on the 25th. And that is a delay of 3 days. Which, albeit in the grand scheme, may not seem like a long time to wait. It might seem like, well, why don't you just wait for that? But the reason why I want to push for Singapore as hard as possible is because the sooner we take it, the better. And if I take Johor Baru, that means I have the division there resting for 2 days. The armor and artillery is going to move down here. I've got one set of armor moving this way. I've got one set of armor moving this way. The Imperial Guard division is going to move this way. The Imperial Guard division is probably going to be moving up over to the north, really, through Malaya to just take control. We do have overwhelming AV advantage here in this area. We've been quite fortunate there. So we're going to take advantage of that. 2 divisions will be sufficient to take Singapore, I would imagine. I would be quite surprised if it wasn't. He's not going to have a great level of fortification at this point in time, which is nice. But indeed, I'm going to have one of the armoured units move down this way to actually take control of the Hexeyes, take control of the actual road over there. The other one's going to move over here to make sure that we have something here when this unit moves out. Not that it's going to move out, but it means that we have something here. If I so wish to actually go north to Malacca. But they'll be here tomorrow, then they'll be here tomorrow. Well, the day after. These guys would take 2 turns anyway. So it's just making sure that we have control of these areas. Just in case it does bring something over here, then at least we have something to respond with. Or just in case I would like to go north to Malacca instead. It just gives us some sort of flexibility there in the system, which is nice. But we can expect to have... I mean, that's another 49. There's still a loading, so let's say that we'll call it 50. So that'll be 100 AV in terms of armor, which will be aiding us at Singapore. And what I'm going to do then is gather both divisions here at Johor Baru, and then the 2 armored divisions. Sorry, I wish they were divisions, 2 armored regiments. Which, let's take an average. I'm going to say that each of them has 4, well, that one's about 431 at the moment. Probably won't be tomorrow. Let's say that each division is about 400 AV. So let's say that we have 800 AV. We bring in the 2 armoured regiments, which would give us 900 AV. We would have the command headquarters, the corps headquarters moving south as well shortly. We do have Southern Army preparing as well. So in theory, we might be able to get at least 3-to-1 odds, which would be very nice. Now, of course, crossing the causeway is a shock attack, so that should give us a additional advantage. Now, ideally, we do defeat this unit handily, which would be very nice. They would then be forced to leave behind their guns and potentially leave behind quite disordered, which would be very nice. So, yeah. There is obviously a good argument to just hold it on. I'd say it is the more prudent and probably the more logical argument. is just to wait for these actual forces to move in here. But this is me wanting to be quite bloodthirsty. I do not wish to delay the attack Johor Bahru because it gives me time to rest and obviously a crew supply there. But it means that as soon as we arrive at Singapore with all our forces, we can... Sorry, arrive at Johor Bahru with all our forces, it means we can immediately begin to prepare to cross over to Singapore, which is something I wish to do. I really do wish to push hard for Singapore. I would be very happy, and I think it is possible. So let's say, right, okay. So they're going to arrive here on the 24th. The armor should arrive. I'm actually going to have both armored units move down that way, bugger it. Yeah, there's no reason as to not. We'll have both armored units move down that way. So let's say by the 24th of December, we have the 2nd Division over here and the 2 armored regiments. The headquarters would probably take a little bit more time. So what I'm going to do then is, while they are in combat mode, actually have them march this way. At least then they can actually start to gain some progress. They're still in combat mode, so obviously they're not going to march as far, but they should still be able to aid us over here. But yeah, hopefully by the 24th then we'll have everything assembled in Johor Bahru. That would mean that on the 25th, which would be the day we would attack Johor Bahru, if we hadn't already taken it, then that means on the 25th we begin moving over to Singapore, which would mean that by the 27th we'd arrive at Singapore and launch the first attack at Singapore. What we might do then is in the days before that, so literally on the 26th or something of that nature, I think, yeah, the 26th. So on the 26th, 27th, what we could do then is actually hit his ground forces with the air power in Malaya, which could be quite nice. It could help to actually break him up a little bit, trying to reduce his actual power. I think we'd have to do it from higher altitudes, obviously due to the fact that he does have a lot of AA there. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe on the 26th, maybe on the last day, on the actual day before they do arrive, we switch over to ground attacks. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Singapore will fall very shortly, which will be very nice. I can't apparently speak today. This is what happens the first time I stream, which is always terrible. Not on a stream recording. So we'll be going for that. I'm redistributing forces across the Malaya as well, which is nice. The beauty is, if we so wish to do so, we could even wait for the 3rd Division, which would absolutely overwhelm his defences there. But I think it probably will be better off having the 3rd Division actually move north through Malaya. I don't think it would be required at Singapore, but that is always an option if we so wish to have it. So yes, the carriers are going to be moving up over here. They're obviously not going to be moving far next turn, but afterwards we will be moving north. We're looking to track these targets down, which are not far away. I mean, once we've refueled, we'll gain another 8 hexes back, and they're not that fast. So we'll be able to get to them. Besides, the sooner we take Singapore as well, the better. Because that means I can begin to clear it of mines, which would be really quite great. In fact, I'm going to get a minesweeping task force moving over to Singkawang, and then it can move over to Singapore shortly thereafter. Yep. So the sooner we take this, the better. I do want to have surface forces around here to actually deal with the shipping running away. But yeah, the sooner we can take Singapore, the sooner we can actually move through the Straits of Malacca, the sooner we can move on to these areas of Java, of Sumatra, which would be nice. Essentially, I want us to be on Java. I want Java secured by January. The sooner the better, but I think it can be done. But I want Java completely secured by the end of January. What I'm going to be doing as well is all the engineer units and artillery or etc. that can be taken from Malaya will be heading over here to Luzon. And you can see that we already do have our forces moving into Luzon now. Let's see. Right. AMC, AOP. AO and an AP. Okay. Right, I do have plenty of sub-chasers there, actually. What I'm going to do then is disband that for the time being. I'm going to take those sub-chasers out and have them follow the... well, escort the 18th in. While saying that... yeah, might as well have them head down here as well, actually. At least then they can act as additional escorts in this area. We have been quite fortunate in our success rate against the submarines off Luzon, which has been really nice. Right, a little bit of fuel there. I could do again a bit of fuel into Luzon, so we can actually use it to refuel our ships. Okay, these guys are over here. I do have the AOs as well. So let's see. Yeah, send that regiment down here to Legazpi. They're heading over there. So the Oilers will link up with them and then continue out forward. We did wonder that he might be sending force into the shipping lanes, but it seems not. It has disappeared for the time being, so it's probably likely here. I mean, with the destruction of our forces at Wake, is actually... It's irritating. I didn't expect it to go that way, really, which is really unfortunate. But this is it. In hindsight, obviously things could have been different. But this is it. The reality was we just didn't anticipate him being there. Just didn't. We assumed he was actually going to be in this general direction. We didn't assume him to be here. But then this is a problem when he has detection here at Wake. And it's difficult to deal with. But the beauty is, at least now that we know where his carriers are, it does make things easier on us, actually. Now, speaking of carriers, I'm moving all these ships down to the south. We're going to move submarines out this way to try and intercept him. We are going to be taking a big risk, a bold risk. We're going to be sending out the Kittic Army on a likely path of which he could take on full speed, as well as 2 light cruisers over here as well, Zitenru and Tatsuta. The reason being they're moving out at full speed, they're moving to react, is if we can actually slow him, or even better yet, even potentially land a torpedo into a ship or something of that nature, try and slow him, it might give the Kittic the time they need to catch up. Best case scenario would be the Kittic Army gets involved with the carrier task force, and you can imagine that the right and left side both have 20 torpedo launchers. We'd only be able to hit one ship, but we'd probably hit that ship and probably wipe that ship out. So imagine if we hit something important, that'd be nice. It is potentially liable. I mean, this is it. We are sending them out with the appreciation that they probably will not survive. But if it does mean that we actually get in there and delay him, and potentially allow the Kittic to catch up, that would be great. Yeah, as far as it goes, he's likely moving down to Australia. He's likely going to be hitting assets in this area of Rabaul, etc. So what we are doing is moving our assets out of this area to try and save them. The good news is the fundamental situation does not change. We still have our troops in position. We have engineers at Tulagi, which is good. So we are building up Tulagi, which is excellent. There's a lot of aviation here. There's a good chunk of supply as well. So that's fine. We just need to look after our assets, really. But yeah, it's one of those of, will we catch him? Maybe not. Infinite has been really, really great and actually helped me to plan out the submarine lanes over here, which is nice. Ideally be able to catch more of the enemy shipping out there. And this is it. It was bound to happen at some point. We had to change it at some point in the near future. So it's good that it's done now. We're going to continue to try and hit these ships as they flee. Hitting shipping over here as well. We're going to be hitting Singapore once again with every bomber. I will then be increasing the amount of rest on the actual airframes in the area as well. The reason being just so we can prevent operation losses. But I do want to hit it as hard as I can, as quickly as I can. I shifted the G4s from Kopang over here to Megazar. The reason being because I want them on naval search for the time being. I've shifted the other A672 group over here, but they have a shite load of fatigue, so I'm actually resting them completely. The other group, and in fact I'm probably going to put some reserves in there. Yeah, this is the beauty though, is that we have reserves. I'm going to put the last one in there. The beauty is that we have reserves here for our Zeros. It's fantastic that we have such manufacturing capabilities. We're almost at a level of Zero production in this game. We're not far from exceeding the production in the THG game, so this is it. We're going to have far, far more. He's moved his ships in over here, which is interesting. They might very well be out of fuel, but we'll see. If they're there, then it means we can get to them at a later date. They weren't that destructive, which was fine. It gave us something. It gave us a bit of a bloody nose. We lost an APD and nearly lost another one, but at least they didn't get in there and do worse damage. So at least that is something. We'll continue to patrol over here, try and drive them off, but it's unlikely to happen. I'm sending engineers down to Kopang, some AMCs down to Kopang as well. I do have some actual ships over here at Monado. What I'm going to do... Oh, we also have an APD, the OI, moving in to take day. What I'm going to be doing as well is moving assets down this way. In Kandari, or Kandarai, I'm loading up the regiment, sorry, the 20th Regiment. And that's going to be getting ready to move out. What I'm going to do then is have it move out all at once down this way. I've got a regiment being loaded up at Megastar. What I want to do then is have 2 regiments assigned. One to take BLeAcHACiD, the other one to take Samarinda, which should be fairly easily done. But yeah, I'd like to secure these 2 positions over here on the southern end of Borneo. It gives us a nice position, gives us nice fuel out this way. Obviously, we do need to protect them. It also reduces his ability to transfer assets out of the area as well. Ambon, we do need to bombard and reduce. The issue is just trying to get there, really. There's a lot of submarines in the area. But it will be about a month before we have a lot of ASW pilots, so things will go easier. So yeah, that's generally how things are going at this moment in time. We do have all the divisions being unloaded over here, which is really nice. We have the elements of the 2nd Division, 21st Division's moving down. I mean, 21st Division's more or less unloaded completely, which is really, really nice, actually. Really great how quickly that's gone. I'm going to have them retire back to Takao. Or Takao. Oh, Takao. Yeah, Takao. How many is aboard? 1,200. Yeah, it's just equipment burn supply. It's good that we have additional supply in here as well. I mean, we've got 72,000 here, which is nice. But yep, they're moving south. I'm moving the artillery as well. The engineer's going to remain in position for the time being for Bataan. But this is it. We've got 2nd Division, 21st Division. They're moving south now. That's another, what, 700 AV. Obviously, a bit more when the rest of the 2nd Division arrives. The 48th Division's in position here. I'm going to wait the other 2 elements of reinforcements to arrive and the actual artillery before we actually begin the attack at Lingayen. We will be attacking over here with the 65th Brigade. We'll be attacking over here with the Sasebo 1st SLF as well. So we're going to put the pressure on now. This is where we begin to push in towards Bataan. Manila's great, but Manila's not going to be the target as such. I will be pushing towards Bataan. If I can try and prevent as much in the way of force getting to Bataan as possible, that'd be great. I mean, this is it. He's got a good number of men over here in Manila. He seems to be being quite generous over here as well. He's not really moving things as such, which is him being generous. He absolutely could. I'm surprised he wouldn't, but we'll take any sort of little mercies, essentially. But yeah, ideally that means that we may be able to secure Bataan in January as well. I think Bataan's not too far away, to be honest. In about 8 days, where might we be? It'll be 2 days before those divisions arrive, so we'll have an attack here on the 25th of December. That may fall tomorrow, which means we might be able to then move on towards Clark. But Clark's got a lot of units, so it will probably mean just waiting out there. But we'll have the brigade move over here to Clark as well, potentially. If it's even needed. We do have a lot of force in this area as well, and it's probably worthwhile having this area protected. The flank at least. Yeah. He could still give us a very bloody nose if he so wishes to do so. But the sooner we get to here, the better. The sooner we take Clark, the better, because that removes his ability to move into Bataan. And then we can deal with Bataan. It probably will mean that we'll hit Clark. It would be fantastic if he didn't retreat to Bataan. So that's probably a better reason for actually leaving Manila alone, really. So if he retreats over that way, that'd be amazing. I do need to secure Eber as well, so that's going to have to be done in the near future, which probably could require a division itself. There's not that much force there, but it's no pushover due to the actual terrain being ×3 jungle rough. But we'll see. Once we have the divisions moving, which they are doing so now, it means that the fall over here is inevitable, which is great. So, if we can aim to have Singapore secured in December, Java secured in January, Northern Luzon, well, Luzon in general secured entirely by January, then that'd be great. I mean, this is it. As soon as this area is more or less wrapped up, what I'll be taking is a division down here to Mindanao to finish this up. We'll also take all these islands here and completely conquer the Philippines. But it will mean that we will have divisions freed up to head elsewhere. That's the beautiful thing here. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. There's about as much done as we can, really. Regarding the carriers, well, it could have been worse. Could have been better, of course. But it could have been far, far worse. Unfortunately, over here, I thought I bloody brought a infantry squad, but apparently not. So, oh well, we'll get that in the future. All in all, things are going well enough. They're going well enough. We'll be able to get some fuel into the destroyers out this way as well shortly, which should be nice. But yeah, there's a little quick and dirty roundup. Not too much in the way of detail there, but you kind of get the gist of what's going on. So we'll go with that. I'm going to call this then full throttle ahead. Hopefully it might make him think that the Kilibatai is going to be moving at full speed. One may hope so. Ooh, doesn't have that spell throttle wrong. There we go. Full throttle ahead. I don't know, it might be just because it's early morning, but I feel like I spelled that wrong, but it'll be okay. We'll go with that then. So thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to read out my lovely patron names as well, because these guys are the guys who really help to make this all possible. Help to make it really worthwhile. It's a very time-intensive series, actually, when compared to like a lot of games. You imagine the amount of time that we spent to get to even this point, and that's a lot of games that could have been completed, really, in traditional playthroughs. So I'm going to say a big thank you to Mr. Alex Diligent Gravy, Mr. Baines, BLeAcHACiD, Deepic Duck, Dingo Bat 4, Eric Wild, Erkkijuusto, Fon4, 123, Gregory VanHouten, Iceycrome, Imperator Thrawn, James Lindsay, Lord Luber, Mark Tolson, Paradigm Blue, Paul Sanders, Raphael, Richard Hopper, Rick Chambers, Ricky Blinson, Sam Spacht, SunYan, Talon the E, The Forgotten Thunder, and Tim Lindholm. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You guys really do help to make it entirely possible. It's well worth it because of you guys. Hopefully, more of you will feel that I've deserved your support or earned your support, and you might consider becoming a patron yourself. That would be great. Would be much appreciated. University will be starting this year, so the great news and the great aim is to be able to pay rent, which would mean I would have significantly more time to actually dedicate towards studies and towards actually content creation. And this is it. This is something I want to carry on doing as long as possible, really. It would be nice to try and see this game out in the long run. That'd be fantastic. But that requires you guys to help out. So, until next time, thank you for watching. Tenno Heka Banzai, glory to the Empire, and have a great afternoon. Goodbye for now.